We are back just in time for spooky season, and we have our background. We are back in the studio. Dad's doing pretty good, so we are back in our regular studio with some scenery. And just before I pan the camera over, Joey had some scheduling conflict, and you've been seeing him a lot, or you're going to be seeing him a lot. And this is my field investigator, cameraman, part of the SWAB crew now for quite some time. I'm taking Joey's seat for today, filling in, Bobby Gray. Bobby.
Thank you. Glad to be here. New experience for me. I've been out on the field, like Billy says, and I wanted to make this transition, so look out, Joey.
Listen, this is Bobby's first time on a podcast, so It is him for the first time speaking behind a microphone, and I already gave him a heads up. It is pretty easy once you do it a few times. I told him it's like basically shooting the shit. And, I don't like doing episodes by myself, except for the side talk episodes, which is a little easier. I'm not on camera. There's definitely a vibe when you have someone next to you and you get to, go off of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And
no doubt.
It's definitely something that is easier when you have a partner to talk with, and just the episode just goes so much better.
Yeah. It's comfortable. Once you have a vibe going, you forget there's a camera, lights, and a mic, you're kind of good.
Yeah. So, Bobby, real quick, you have the list of what we're covering, right?
Yes.
On your phone? Good. And this episode is the kickoff to spooky season. This is the pregame, because spooky season officially starts September 12th, and not on the podcast, believe it or not. This is the pregame. We're at MetLife Stadium pregaming right now, but this is the pregame, and it actually kicks off for the SWAB podcast with a new miniseries on the SWAB Podcast YouTube channel. It's titled Cemeteries of New York, where you're going to be seeing, in all 4 of the episodes, Bobby and I exploring some of New York's most historical but haunted cemeteries. And you'll be seeing Bobby and me exploring these cemeteries, and that's where it kicks off for the spooky season, September 12th, on the Say What Again Billy podcast YouTube channel. So that is a Friday. It'll be coming out in the afternoon, I believe.
Yep.
And all the episodes, Cemetery New York, will be airing on Friday. So that means if you are not subscribed to the SWAB Podcast YouTube channel, that means like and subscribe to get the notifications and get a little history of some of New York's most famous cemeteries. But we're here today to talk about what we're covering on the podcast for the entirety of spooky season, which we are kicking it off very early this year. And that is some of the most haunted locations around the United States. And we're going to touch on some things too within those episodes around the world. So week 1, Bobby, I believe it is the Hinsdale House. Am I correct?
Hinsdale House, 5 hours north. That's a good place. Haven't been there yet, but from what I've heard and read.
We are trying. This is a place that we are trying to go to on the SWAB podcast to give you guys some content, and that is going to be something crazy if it ends up happening, and we are in the works of doing it. And the Hinsdale House is supposedly one of the most haunted houses in New York, and it has been featured on tons of paranormal shows. So if you go on Travel Channel, the Hinsdale House is definitely on a majority of the shows you probably watch, and this is some place that we want to go to. Now, before we go into the other ones, and we're not going to give too much about it on this episode because that's what spooky season is going to be, I thought a good way to segue you in, Bobby, to the world of the podcast listeners and viewers is, why don't you tell, before we get into the other weeks, one of your ghost stories that got you intrigued in the paranormal?
Well, the most direct I had, I'll make it a short one, but I had a family member lived across the street. The family had the house for 75 years, and Uncle Jack passed away. He would fix everything on the house. Never got married, lived with my aunt, his sister. And long story short, he passes away whenever any work was done whatsoever on the house. If they would change a light socket, or especially if they're doing something kind of major, he would appear. Full apparition, a full physical feature. I mean, it was incredible. I never saw him personally. I went in to check on the house in full uniform when I was first on the job, and because my cousin went away. So I hear them walking around upstairs. Ah, you didn't leave yet. I go upstairs and I hear them walking in a wooden house, frame house, right alongside me. They're not there. I check each room. I check under the beds. I'm getting a little too personal, in the closet. And I close each room and corner one room. Now I hear them in there. They're walking. It's a frame house. Step, step, step. So now I'm actually starting to unholster my weapon, which you never do. You don't do this, but I'm really getting nervous here.
Especially in a situation you're in, a family or friend's
family's house who's away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I hear them walking around. I'm yelling their names. They don't hear me. I go in the room, all macho. Hey, I'm here. And there's no one in there. All right. I'm not thinking about Uncle Jack. I would have been spooked, but not so scared because, as a family member, deceased, but still.
Yeah.
So now I turn to go back down the steps, and a full body just comes up behind me where I can feel, I can still get the tingling sensation. I feel the breath, or an aura, something behind my whole body within half an inch. I froze. I mean, when I say frozen stiff, I was frozen stiff. I don't know what the hang time was, but had to be a good 20 seconds. And that's a long time to stand there scared. Now, if you were walking by, this is funny. I'm in full uniform, running down the stairs when I was finally able to, across the street in my uniform, apparently looking scared. I run into my house, and I call up my cousin Patty. I go, Patty, I'm going blah, 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 blah. She starts laughing, calls her daughter Danielle, say, Danielle, Bobby finally met Uncle Jack. And that was I was like, you know what? This is kind of cool. And here I am today.
It's things like that, stories like that, that goes to show people that even if you're a non-believer, the non-believers have their own story. They have something. Every non-believer that I have ever talked to, once they say, I don't believe in it, I end up saying to them, but you have a story though, no?
Everybody has them.
And everybody has a story. And that's what's so great about the paranormal, is that you don't have to be a believer, but you still have a story. And then that, when I say that, I'd say 5 out of 10 times, people will turn to me and say, well, yeah, you're right. Maybe there is something, because, I have a story. And if you say everybody has a story, and again, everybody has a story. And you know what? Stories like that, kicking off spooky season with this pregame show, goes to show you that this is the best time of the year, because there's something about the transition from summer to fall that just is not only beautiful, but there's like an ominous feel to it. Here in New York, the last couple of weeks, summer really did leave early. I don't know where you guys are watching or listening from, but in New York, the last week and a half, 2 weeks, the fall weather, it just came quick. The morning, it's like 50, 60 degrees. It's like August wanted to just leave early. And you can already feel the difference in the air. The air smells slightly different. Uh-oh. There's leaves on the floor already. It's September, 2nd now. Leaves are on the floor. There's this vibe with fall. And it's not only just the beautiful scenery that it creates as the season comes in, but when you think about September to October, it's, you think about spooky and pumpkin spice and apple cider and donuts and things of that nature, going apple picking, pumpkin picking, and all the spooky houses that get set up that you get to walk through. And there's just something about this time of the year where stories like that hold more weight and more ground when you tell them.
Well, if you notice, I'm a believer, a skeptic / believer. I need to be proven. But when this time of year comes, it's invigorating. You wake up, the crisp air, like you say, no humidity. But if you look around, and it seems to be more now than it ever was. Pardon me, it's a little allergy, but it seems like the whole world is waking up to spooky season. The stores, obviously, they're selling their wares, but everywhere you go, restaurants, neighborhoods, not only Sleepy Hollow, who really does it right, but even these small little places, everybody gets part of this aura of the season. I find it exciting. I find it intoxicating. It's my favorite time of year. My wife will yell at me because summer's over, but I love it.
I used to hate summer. I ended up liking it You know, you just being able to go outside and working where I work now. Being outside is not fun. For me, my 2 coworkers love the winter. They love the cold, but I don't. And it's not fun when you're hands-on at your job, being outside predominantly most of the day. So I don't like the winter. The fall I could do. And in August, I usually get to a certain week where I'm like, all right, I'm good for the fall.
It's enough.
I'm good for the fall now. Yeah. This year, summer went so fast, I don't find myself saying it. But this morning, I had to take a indirect route to the gym because there was massive traffic on the highway. And going local, and windows are down, comfortable weather.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is nice. This is nice.
Yeah, you could do this. Yeah.
I codd do this. Now, week 2, Bobby. What is the next on the spooky season lineup for the Say What Again, Billy podcast?
Well, they're going to the
we passed the
house.
we passed the Hinsdale house. Now let's get to week 2. What is week 2 on our lineup right there? Because unfortunately, I left my iPad checked. I leave my iPad checked plugged in over there.
That's not a problem. Poveglia Island.
Oh, Italy.
Yeah, we're going near Venice, somewhere off the coast of Venice, I believe.
This is, not to interrupt you, this is actually an episode that was done when Ghost Adventures was good. I am positive there was an episode about this, and I actually know somewhat of this, but take it away.
Yeah, and I'm just, I made some notes because, my first time, I don't want to mess things up.
No, we're doing good. We're going to, comment below how Bobby did on this.
Yeah, comment below, please. Make a couple of thumbs up. Okay, it was a quarantine island in the 1300s, going to the Black Plague. I think that was the early 1300s. Then there was a mental asylum built there, I think in the 1800s, and they experimented like they used to do with these poor kids, adults. And there's a ghost of a mad doctor, they say, who still haunts the town, the area today. But they say it's legit. I mean, it's one of the ones that really, whoever goes there, does a thing on Poveglia, they leave there. Like, this is the real thing.
I remember the Ghost Adventures crew leaving there shaken up. And, real quick, because we're not getting too far into the episodes, because when that time comes for that episode, we're going to go full-fledged into it. The one thing I like to say is I think that island is not only haunted because of what happened there and who was there for long periods of time, patients that were sick, and then it became a testing for treatment. And obviously, going way back when, treatment wasn't really great. Lobotomies were thought of to be like the greatest thing.
Lobotomies, everything.
Yeah, that was thought to be the greatest thing. And obviously, that's obviously not. But when it comes to paranormal, we've touched on this on a lot of episodes. There is something about elements and nature that gives energy to the paranormal to manifest. And they were talking about an island where a lot of bad shit happened, surrounded by water. And if you think Italy, there's not only just water, there's the mountains.
Yeah.
And it's just that island probably holds so much energy from what happened there, surrounded by a body of water. And that's why that island is just infested with paranormal activity. And that's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fellow Paisan, so I get to do something about Italy. You know what I mean, Bobby? Hey. Bobby!
I'm told I'm honorary. So.
It's yes, you are. You got the seal of approval.
Yeah,
it's funny. I was on when I thanked everybody for 10K. Oh, by the way, Swap Podcast hit 10K on Instagram. I said this is a podcast of guys from the Bronx that talk about the weird and the strange. Yeah. And, when you go and you look up podcasts from the Bronx, predominantly it's like guys talking about the Yankees or even the Mets. The Mets have some love in the Bronx.
Oh, yeah.
Or basketball or New York sports, or they do the typical Italian culture where they go on and they put the accent on a little bit more and they go, Bobby, you got a sandwich, Bobby? I can't do that, but we're doing something unique out of the Bronx. And that's talking
good stuff.
Weird and strange. And quick thank you again for the 10K on Instagram. Trying to get the YouTube channel up. That's my bad. I started everything a little late with the video and the YouTube, but I think we're good enough to hang with the big boys. We got good conversation.
You're on a train right now. There's no stopping you.
No stopping.
You're the Exceller.
What happens I'm gonna try to do my best Joker impersonation. You know what happens?
Here we go.
When an immovable object meets an unstoppable force. Yeah, that's what's happening right now. I feel unstoppable, and you got to have that mindset.
That's it.
But Bobby, week 3. of spooky season.
Okay, this is the Bell Witch of Tennessee. I've heard the Bell Witch Tower. I don't know if it's the same thing, but of Tennessee.
This is one of the first documented cases in the paranormal world of an apparition or something spooky actually taking the lives of somebody.
Yeah, John.
And it's
John Bell.
And it's one of the, they say Bell Witch, but...
Well, it's the Bell family.
Right.
And the witch had already been for whatever. I don't know the background of the witch's story.
This is like the first time that it's... The word witch is used, but I think it's just more of a spirit.
In other words,
not
that was probably the wording they would use at the time.
Right. And I don't think it was necessarily a witch, like a girl, with the cauldron and all this stuff going on behind us. But that is a good one. And that was one of the first cases growing up that I read is the Bell Witch case. It was like, when growing up, getting into this stuff, it was, the Amityville Horror House, the Bell Witch, which another one on there that we haven't touched, surprisingly, is the Winchester Mystery Mansion.
Yeah, it's another one.
These are one of the, these are some of the more famous cases that I grew up in, that grew and gripped the intrigue for me.
Yeah.
So we're going to be like I said.
Myself as well. It's some of these are, some of the movies, like, I'm not sure if it's the Hinsdale House. It might have been the base of the Haunting. I'm not sure about that. Which one?
The Haunting,
the movie,
the remake or the old one? Because there was a remake. I believe
there was a remake. I'm not sure which one.
I remember the remake because Owen Wilson.
Yes,
with the broken nose. That guy. I remember like the lion statue coming alive and eating him in the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like that actor. As a kid, you're naive and dumb. You're like, no, like it. I just remember that scene of the lion eating him. I'm like, where did he go? Is he, but that's how you think as a kid watching these crazy movies. But we're going to get in depth of that. And then again, any of these that you actually like and you want to come on the episode, we got, we have an extra mic.
Well, if I get a couple of thumbs up there, I'll come back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we have an extra mic ready to go.
It works.
So, Bobby, number 4 now, week 4.
Actually, that's the Samuel Haunting. That's the one that's actually the Ed and Lorraine Warren had gone. That one had, again, I'm sorry. There were apparitions, a lot of physical assaults and sexual assaults, believe it or not, in this one. A girl got pushed down the steps. There's a lot of physical activity. So a lot of people said, it might have been, townspeople said maybe it was abuse in the family. But there was a lot of documented spiritual stuff there as well, which is, we'll delve into more.
Yes. Ed and Lorraine Warren, very big people in the world of the paranormal. And the last Conjuring movie is coming out.
Yeah, it just came out.
I think it just came out.
Rites or something
Last
like that.
Rites. It's all these movies are obviously it's theatrical.
But they're heavily based on fact,
on true events. Yeah. Yes, so that's going to be an interesting one. And again, mention Ed and Lorraine Warren a lot on the podcast.
Well, they are the go-to. If they're ever like the official historians, founders of this genre, the TV shows, they have an institute still that's alive and kicking.
Right.
So, funny term, but alive and kicking.
Alive and kicking.
Yeah. So,
Bobby, next one. We're week 5 now already?
Yeah, I think that went down to, I'm sorry, I get locked on my own spot here. The last one I had was the Winchester on that, which we alluded to before. That one I find fascinating.
I think that's fascinating just by the architecture of the house.
Yeah.
Just the way things seem off in there.
Well, that's what she did. She just constantly, she thought, do you mind?
Go ahead. Yeah.
She was a daughter of...
We'll touch on it.
Oliver. Oliver invented what they call the Winchester repetitive, a repeating rifle. And she had such heavy guilt from all the lives she knew.
Real quick tidbit, very famous show, 16 years that it ran, I believe, 15, 16 years. Show Supernatural. Mm-hmm. The main characters, Dean and Sam Winchester. And when the show started, they had a revolver, the Winchester revolver with special bullets that were able to take out demons. And demons, Sammy. And guess what? Where do you think that came from? The last name Winchester. Heavily based on this famous haunted place or spooky location. And then what made that show really good was the fact that they used actual folklore, urban legends on their show.
Yeah.
And of course,
whenever
they inherited,
it's factually based, it just adds that.
but they took the name Winchester,
Yeah.
100% from this place.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying that place. That's like a road trip I would love to go on. That's in San Jose, California. So what she
one
would
hell
do,
of a road trip.
Yeah, well, listen, you got that. We'll do it.
Yeah.
But Sarah is the daughter of Oliver. She had such guilt about it, so she would keep on building onto this mansion, but weird rooms, stairs and doors that would lead to nowhere. Like you'd go up a long set of stairs, and there's a door, and it doesn't open. Or if it doesn't open, if it does open, there's a brick wall. And she said that she was doing it to appease the ghosts, and some people say she was doing it to entrap the ghosts. I don't know.
I always thought that she built it so that she could actually keep confuse them from getting to
I've
where,
heard both things.
where she's at. And
I thought that, yeah.
Even getting out of the house.
Yeah.
Because and when you go in there, if you think that the ghosts are confused, you go into that place, there's staircases that lead to nowhere, doors that open and don't go anywhere, doors that open and literally take you in a circle.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird things about the Winchester. And 4 years, almost 5 years of the Say What Again Billy podcast, I can't believe there's certain things we didn't touch on.
Yeah, and that's a biggie.
Yeah. I was going to do Eastern State Penitentiary, and I was like, no, I'm going to X that out. And the reason I X'd Eastern State Penitentiary out is that, unfortunately, with everything in the world, video games, movies, things become commercialized, you know? And Eastern State Penitentiary is a very haunted place in Pennsylvania. But unfortunately, they have commercialized it where you are allowed to go in there for ghost tours starting right around now. Unfortunately, you get jump scared the entire time in this place. And I don't like that. I want to go there, and I do think they have this option, but I want to go solely in there and walk around at night with no one jumping out at me.
That's correct.
Just to get the feel and the vibe of the place and see if it's genuinely haunted. And obviously there's some historical natures of the place with one of the most famous mobsters being held there for quite some time. Capone.
Nick Capone. Yeah.
And catering to him too. Prison was like,
Oh yeah,
we're going to cater to you. They gave him a rug and a desk.
and when you see his cell, you see the TV, you see the rug,
left as is.
as is.
Yeah, as is. They catered to him, which I found interesting because as much of a mobster as he was looked up to as a hero by some of the people that were around him because of what he was doing.
He was a Robin Hood type to a lot of people.
Right. He was a Robin Hood. He would, but he kind of like Bronx Tale, Sonny, in a way.
I said he took care of his own. He protected them, fed them, so to speak.
I think that's where they got the idea of Sonny and the Bronx Tale.
Yeah, they may have.
Because it's very similar.
Yeah.
But this spooky season is going to be pretty good. We're going to have these interesting topics. We're going to cover them in depth. We're going to have a nice crew. And then, of course, we adding the cemeteries of New York into the equation.
That's a good one.
We're going to have some side talk episodes pop up. And we're trying to give you a really good spooky season on these subjects that will intrigue you to get you by week to week leading up to October 31st, where we're just going to do an episode about tales and spookiness of October. We come up with different things every year, and we might have to venture to a different country and do different things from that country. Because in the United States of America, we already know what Halloween's about, but maybe in other countries it's celebrated differently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I imagine.
And Bobby, I think you did a good job.
Listen, I'm excited to be on this ride. I appreciate the opportunity. We spoke. That we had this common interest, and never didn't realize what you do. And I was like, it feels good to be part of it.
Real quick, so Bobby and I, we go to a beach club. So that's how we met initially, at a beach club. And then there was a day when I had first joined the beach club. I'm in a supermarket, and Bobby was in there with his lovely wife, and I'm getting food, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm grabbing something, and then I got to go record something later. And he goes, what are you recording? I was like, I have a podcast. Bobby goes, what is the podcast about? Reluctantly, I said, it's about paranormal, ghosts, UFOs, and the conversation struck up on aisle 4.
Yeah.
And ever since then, Bobby has came on board, guns blazing, and he's doing a hell of a job. Bobby is...
I'm trying.
Gung-ho. I'm not amping you up.
Yeah, I appreciate
I'm not
it.
looking for a presidential pardon in the future, but I'm just saying he gets that joke. But I just want to say, like, you know, some guys come in and they're nervous, and Bobby is coming guns blazing. He has his research to a T when he goes to sometimes better than me, because I'll be very honest with you. I plan all this. I edit things. Sometimes I don't have time to look up.
Well, you're wearing a lot of hats, though.
Information, yes. I'm, you know. So Bobby comes in very informative. He is like a sponge. I mentioned yesterday. He's like, he absorbs all it. Does he retain all of it? He said yesterday.
You know, that's where we might differ.
Yes, but he's good. He's retaining. He's like a sponge. He comes in packed with information. He reads up on the places we're going to. This was a short notice for Bobby to come in today and fill in for Joey, and he came in with what I sent him and read everything. And people like that make running a podcast that much better. And again, when I thanked everybody for 10K, it's not about because I became we, and I'm not like that. If people are joining me on my adventure, it's not just my adventure and it's not just my podcast. It is our podcast, our investigation group, and people like Bobby are a godsend to me because he's coming in guns blazing with a common interest, and he's been doing a hell of a job. So I hope everybody enjoyed Bobby taking over for Joey today on this episode.
So. Thank you.
And not only that, Bobby's been doing a hell of a job in cemeteries in New York, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy that. And the one thing that Bobby and I absolutely love before we go to the cemeteries and do the wholehearted, full-fledged historical analysis and walkthrough is we like our coffee.
Yes.
So How You Brewing Cafe in Tuckahoe, New York is one of the best places to get the coffee, with over 14 flavors of cold brew and your hot brew coffee. Little neat treats to have inside of the glass so that you can sit there, eat, and drink your coffee. How You Brewing Cafe in Tuckahoe, New York is the place to go before you start your workday or your paranormal investigation. Head over to How You Brewing Cafe in Tuckahoe, New York, and get your cup of joe.
Yeah, they're legit.
Legit. Also,
legit.
Big thank you to Spotify for Creators. If you haven't heard about Spotify for Creators, it is the free app that allows you to get your podcast idea out there. If you have a phone or tablet or computer, head over to Spotify for Creators to get started. Bobby, hell of a job this episode, brother.
Really appreciate it. Hope I
wasn't bad, right? Just gotta shoot the shit.
No, I'm ready for the next one.
Ready for the next one, and that will be a full-fledged spooky season episode, of course, on the Say What Again Billy podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.